Hello everyone and welcome to the final video for this episode of Nights at Dining Room Table. I'm Rory from Lewis King Estate Agents, still here again with Dean from Just Mortgages, who's just drained another coffee. We're at the Week Chief in Sandbach and we're talking cost of moving this time. So Dean, someone sits in front of you and says, look, I'm looking to buy my next or first property, what the cost of moving is going to be involved for me. How does that conversation go from your point of view?
Okay, yeah, so there's a number of things to consider, and sometimes clients don't always think about some of these things. So naturally, from a mortgage perspective, there might be certain fees involved, whether that be product fees or so on and so forth, valuation fees, all of those sort of things come into it. And obviously when you sit down with a mortgage broker or advisor, they'll explain if any of those fees are applicable. You've then got, on top of that, you've got stamp duty, if again, depending on the client and the purchase value.
Yeah.
There'll be stamp duty cost involved, which again, sitting down with the advisor, they can look at those and you can speak to a tax specialist as well if needed. There's other things then to consider on top of that. So you've got your conveyancing fees or your solicitor's fees, which obviously mean you know all about, Rory, but for clients, this is the work that a solicitor or conveyancer will do from a legal aspect to transfer ownership of the property from one person to another. And then probably to go alongside that with a moving or buying your first property, you've got little things like the moving costs or whether you need to redecorate or provide furniture for that property. There's all those sorts of things to think about that maybe initially when you start looking at a property you don't quite consider, but when you sit and speak to a mortgage advisor or mortgage broker, they're the things that will get a client to start thinking about right from the very start.
Yeah, fantastic. And then going back to what you just mentioned about conveyancing then, are a lot of lenders still offering deals where legal assistance is included as part of the mortgage deal, or would you recommend maybe speaking with a local solicitor to get a couple of quotes and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so speaking from my experience, there are clients that want to use specific solicitors. It might be that they've used them in the past, or it might be that they're involved in whether it be friends or family or whatever it may be. But there are some lenders and some transactions that come with free legals. So again, it's a conversation with the client to understand what their preference is. My job as a mortgage broker is, I suppose, if there is a free legal option, is to make them aware of it, if that is the right product and the most cost-effective product. As I mentioned before, there's various services that we do, whether it be offering the use of a particular conveyancer, protection stuff that we talked about before. There's various things that we'll talk to clients about at this point, but it's just getting them to assess the overall cost of moving, everything that's involved with it, whether that be a lump sum cost or an ongoing monthly cost that they have to pay.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So in terms of just picking up on what you just said there with regards to protection, a lot of people might not understand what that is. Would you mind just explaining a bit more about what protection is, because it's probably the post move, once you're in your new property side of things, that they need to be thinking about then, if that's right.
Well, yeah, it's probably something that they should assess at the same time, if I'm honest with you, Rory. So from a protection point of view, what a mortgage broker or advisor should do is talk to you about the need that you would have for life and critical illness insurance, if that's relevant to you. So either if it's a first time buyer that hasn't got any insurance, or a mover or remortgage client that maybe doesn't have any insurance or has some to review, our job is really to make you aware of where the gaps in the insurance or gaps in the protection need are, and really show you what it would cost to effectively protect that need, whether that be from a life cover point of view, critical illness, or an income protection point of view, which is like a sick pay replacement, if you like. So my job as an advisor is to show a client what protection they might need, what it would cost to put that protection in place, and effectively then the client has all the information to make an informed choice. It's something that we recommend at least having a conversation about. There's no obligation to take any insurance out, obviously. It's just that our job, and from a duty of care point of view, it's making sure a client understands what they should have compared to what they have at the moment.
Fantastic. And obviously important to review it. If they've already got it in place, you're now moving to a bigger property, perhaps you're going to need to change that.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest ones for me, that if you've taken insurance out in the past, you may have changed jobs and finances, you may have had children or married or whatever it may be, or as you mentioned, moved to a new property or done something different on your mortgage. So it's always important to review your protection to make sure that it still does the job that you want it to do. When you take an insurance policy out, obviously your circumstances are a certain thing. If you ever needed to make a claim on it and that policy wasn't going to do what you wanted it to do, it's best to know now rather than at that unfortunate period where you need to make a claim.
Of course, yeah, no, that's brilliant. Lovely. Well, thanks for your time, Dean. I hope that's been useful to everyone over the last few videos. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop us a message. We can certainly put them to Dean for you. We are hosting a coffee morning. We're at the house in Blackwater and Grub in Sandbach on the 3rd of February from 9 o'clock. So feel free to drop in and see us there and ask any questions. Nice informal setting. We'll be happy to help. But thanks everyone. Thank you again, Dean.
Yeah, thanks Rory, and hopefully see some of you on the 3rd in the house.
All right, all the best guys. Thank you.